Let's start right at the bottom.
Okay.
Do we assume at this stage that Wolves and Burnley are both gone?
Yes. Well, I'm certainly making that assumption. I really am.
Yeah.
They won't thank me for saying it, but Wolves and Wolves are just a disastrous season, really, from start to finish. And Burnley, it's a mountain. There's no chance, I don't think, for Burnley.
You've got the fear at the moment for Scott Parker, haven't you?
Correct.
You know, the home fans seem to have turned on him. He said yesterday, after the defeat of the weekend at home to West Ham, he said, I will not waver. It was always going to be a humongous challenge. I think his issue is that last season, you know, they finished level with Leeds on 100 points, 24 ahead again of Sunderland.
Yeah,
and you can't help but compare and contrast, can you?
Well, you do. That's exactly what you do. Whether that's right or wrong, the fact of the matter is, excuse me, Jeff, the fact of the matter is, they'll be compared with the promoted sides that they come up with.
Yeah.
And certainly Leeds' current form has been fabulous. Watched that game at the weekend as well. They looked good value for the victory. And Sunderland, as you know, weekend aside, have been absolutely flying.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, if we look at the bottom of the table, we're looking at one spot. Do you believe that everybody up to and including Tottenham are in it?
Oh, without doubt. Absolutely. I would even take a step further and say Brighton and Palace will be all right, but I think they need a couple of victories, and the sooner they get them, the better. I thought that was a big result for Palace.
Yeah, Darren, who's a Palace fan, has texted this, and morning, gents. As a Palace fan, I got to say, I really don't think we're in this anymore. Sarr's come back from the Cup of Nations. Muniz has come back from injury.
Yes.
We signed a couple of quality players. Darren, I agree with you. I think Palace are safe-ish now.
Aye, that's what I am. Exactly, and that's the word I would use for those two, Brighton and Palace. As I say, brilliant result for Palace at the weekend. Really important. 3 points. Tottenham,
I mean, you would say Tottenham 6 points clear of West Ham. On the face of it, that's a nice cushion. But 4 games ago, they were 13 points clear of West Ham.
Mate, I'm watching that game, and I think the skipper should hang his head in shame, by the way, for his red card. I really do. And I can't believe, right? I just can't believe it's split. I mean, obviously decisions, it's all about opinions. I get all that, Jeff. The one thing I would say, every ex-professional football player that I have spoken to say it's a red card, because he knows what he's doing, Jeff.
Oh yeah,
he knows exactly what he's doing, and anybody that's played a game at any level, anybody who watches a game knows that he does not need to follow through. Right, he's got to go in for the tackle. He's got to attempt to win the ball, which he does, and then he just follows through and has a piece of the player that he's tackling. Madness, and at that point. Because Tottenham weren't playing that badly at that point, to tell you the gospel truth. But at that point, it just killed their chances, I felt. So, and the interesting thing is, and I couldn't believe this, and I was just reading it, Tottenham are now sitting 1 point worse off than they were at this point last season, when, admittedly, I think Big Ange kind of, I wouldn't say he gave up on league position, but he certainly didn't give it as much, you know, in terms of where his main thoughts were, was obviously going with the Europa League, and he kind of took his, I wouldn't say he took his eye off the ball, that's the wrong way to say it, but you know what I'm saying. His priorities, that's the word I'm looking for. His priorities lay elsewhere in the European trophy, and they finished in a shocking season in the league. But to look at that stat just now and see that they are 1 point worse off than they were last season, yes, with some justification, greater justification than most teams, we can sit here and say they've been very unlucky with injury, and they absolutely have. However, it is nothing but, I mean, the last 2 seasons domestically in the league have been shocking for Tottenham.
They have, yeah. And you wonder, I mean, what a humongous game coming up, Newcastle at home. Newcastle in awful form themselves. But after that, Spurs have got Arsenal, Fulham away, Palace at home. We'll be seeing Palace's resilience. Liverpool away. They've got a shocker of a run coming up. So this is. Do you feel the Newcastle game is a must-win?
I don't know. Do you know something, Jeff? I'm sitting here thinking it might be just as important for Eddie. You know, It's and I personally think, and it's just my own opinion, I think it's ridiculous if someone like Eddie Howe's under pressure. I really do. I genuinely do.
You don't feel they're in the relegation shake-up, though, do you?
No, I don't.
No,
mate.
I don't either.
I don't. I really don't. I mean, the big games coming up, and they're all big games. I mean, the game I'm going to tomorrow night, I can't wait for. That's West Ham, Manchester United. I mean, West Ham in particular have done great. They've rallied, but the unfortunate thing they've got is the teams above them are getting points. What's a couple of the games at the weekend? Coming up Wednesday, Crystal Palace home to Burnley. You think if Crystal Palace win that, that's them damn near safe, and they should be okay. And then Nottingham Forest Wolves, that's a game must win for Forest. Absolutely must win for Forest.
Must win for Sean Dyche. We know Evangelos Marinakis is not scared of taking drastic action.
Absolutely. You would, in normal circumstances, I would say absolutely no chance. Sean Dyche will be fine. But I would suggest with that owner who is capable of anything, you'd be less confident than most.
I mean, it's worth pointing out that I thought Leeds were excellent when they played them, but Forest were very, very poor and incredibly poor defensively, which is so unlike a Sean Dyche team. But I think it's worth pointing out they took 8 points from 4 games in the Premier League before that result. So maybe it's not all doom and gloom.
Big centre forward looked all right when he came on, didn't he? Big Luca, he did okay.
Yes, he did. He did do okay. Yeah, he's a big lad, isn't he?
No, he's a unit.
It's interesting down the bottom. Obviously, West Ham are just 3 points behind them now, and they have momentum. And they're going to need that momentum because in the next 6 games, they play Man United, Liverpool, Man City, and Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Tough games. But momentum can change things so much.
Well, look at the team they're playing in tomorrow night. You talk about momentum. I mean, Jeff, I turned up early at Old Trafford. I think I was there, whatever time it was, back 9:30 for the 12th. And it was just a completely different environment. It was just a completely different Old Trafford. You know, smiling faces, enthusiasm, belief. Pardon me, and you speak about momentum. The momentum that United have just now, they're 2 results, great results, and then obviously the late goal against, I think it was Fulham, and then the momentum carries on. The Tottenham game, but you're absolutely right to mention West Ham have got momentum as well, so that's a proper game tomorrow. I think that's a difficult one to call. I think probably interesting. We'll get the Coral boys on. Manchester United will probably be favourites, I would think, to start that game, but that's a game I think anything can happen.
Big game. And we haven't really mentioned Leeds too much apart from their win over Nottingham Forest, and they're flying.
Yes.
So they have momentum. But
correct.
And at the moment, I'm thinking, well, they're looking safe, aren't they? Next 3 games, Chelsea away.
How far are you going up?
How far am I going up to?
How far are you going up in
Spurs.
terms of...
I would go up to Spurs. I think Spurs are right in it.
Yeah.
I think Leeds are still in it.
Mm-hmm.
Chelsea away, Villa away, and City at home in the next 3 games. So the table looks good now.
Of course.
But it may not do in 3 games. So,
of course.
Shall I tell you what, Coisty? Dark horse, I don't think they'll get relegated. But just got to keep an eye on Brighton, where the fans have turned against Fabian Herzler big time.
They have.
And they were very, very poor against Crystal Palace yesterday in the middle of an awful run as well.
Yeah. I think they'll be okay right enough, but I take your point.
Yeah, I think they'll be okay as well. Now, that, for what it's worth, I think Tottenham will be okay as well. But it's certainly getting very interesting down at the bottom.